Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Main Street. My name is Dwayne Hopkins, and we're coming to you live from the campus of Muscatine Community College in the local access Channel 9 studio. You know, the past couple of weeks, or couple of months actually, our focus has been on RAGBRAI, and today is no different. I have with me in the studio two members of the RAGBRAI Executive Committee, and Diana Tank, who is a member of the Ride Right Committee. But we're going to talk to the two Executive Committee guys. First of all, that would be Bob Hayes and Chuck Vassy. Good morning, gentlemen. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Tell us, guys, if you will, a little bit about your function and your committees.
Well, the RAGBRAI folks have organized the towns into 5 major committees that what Chuck and I co-chair, and then we have 5 committees under us. We have campgrounds, housing, we have Ride Right with Diana, we have showers and sanitation, and then the ending towns have specific functions that we have to attend to certain things on. I will say that our committees aren't straight like RAGBRAI tells us. Because of the town and the people we have, we've kind of filtered them around and sorted it down to really 4 committees. And so we've got everybody involved.
So, Bob, with all those responsibilities, that's a pretty good chunk.
Yes, we have a big chunk of it, but we have good committee chairs like Diana who really are doing most of the work.
I mean, I know back in 2006 or whatever it was, there were like 10,000 cyclists that came to Muscatine on that given day when they arrived, and this year they're talking 15,000.
That's correct.
How in the world are you going to put everybody, a place for everybody and a thing for everybody?
I'm not sure about that. And I think that's the way RAGBRAI has been for a long, long time, is it's very loose, and the riders are very flexible. So people, particularly on the ride, are used to adjusting and maybe standing in line or finding a different route to maybe get around town or something other than where all the cars are. So they're really flexible and congenial folks, and it just kind of flows. And I think that's probably better than trying to make it too rigid.
So I'm going to assume that both of you guys are experienced RAGBRAI riders as well.
Yes. Correct. Yeah.
And Chuck, what for you, and being a co-committee chair, executive committee chair with Bob, what's been the biggest struggle for you so far?
It's really gone well. I think we've been able to connect up with parts of the community. Like I think the point out here, RAGBRAI hits Muscatine twice. The Friday before the ride begins, there will be about 800 people camping at the high school, and there'll be cars all week, and then people will gather back there again, so it's kind of a double shot. We've been fortunate, like around the school, there's a booster group, and they handle events all year long, so they just go into their normal drill and address this. And that makes it easy when you can tap into the community where the skills and expertise lie.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but most, if not all, funding derived from parking, whether it be the Friday before or the day of, goes to the Muskie Booster Club?
There's a split between the overall RAGBRAI group to fund a lot of the background, the infrastructure work, but they get their share of it too. So it's a good opportunity for them.
Well, Bob, what's been the biggest, and I want to say rewarding, but perhaps that hasn't arrived yet, but the best time for you in this organizational experience?
Well, I would back up your first question and say that my biggest issue was the apprehension going into it. Like, can we pull all this off? Just like you said, what are we going to do with 16,000 riders?
Yeah.
But once I got over that, and you see all the people in Muscatine that get involved, like Chuck said, like the Boosters Club, and the bike club's gotten heavily involved in the Ride Right piece of it, which is safety and that kind of thing. And you see everybody pitch in, it gets easier. It doesn't get harder.
So what you guys are telling me is that most of Muscatine residents are okay with this event and this many riders coming to Muscatine.
From what I know, yes.
They had a town meeting event, was that a week or two ago?
Yeah.
And there were no real issues came up. People were,
Really? Well, that's fantastic. That is ultimately fantastic. Well, also joining us, the chair of the Ride Right Committee, Diana Tank. Now, Diana, tell us what exactly is the Ride Right Committee?
Well, it's a committee that works on bike safety, signage, talking to the residents along the route to make sure they are aware that the riders are coming through.
And this would be like when the riders
Are coming
first
from-
come into Muscatine.
Yes.
And the route is, what, G28 to Hershey?
28 to Hershey. So our committee will go out and actually we're planning to go and talk specifically to each resident. We'll take a letter with some informational pieces for them to take a look at. We'll talk to them, to hand deliver letters, let them know about RAGBRAI coming into town so they are aware of it, and talk to them and answer any questions they may have.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate here for
Right.
just a second. Sure. Let's say your committee is fanned out coming down Hershey Avenue, a recently reconditioned street,
Right.
and you knock on one door, and this little old lady says, "No, I don't want any part of this. I don't want those bicyclists coming by my house now or ever." What do you do?
Well, hopefully, when we're done speaking with them, we have an opportunity to let them know it'll be just fine. It'll be okay. It'll be fun. These are all very nice cyclists. They're great people. They're fun to be around. And also, if they have more trepidation or they're really still more concerned, I would probably direct them more to maybe someone, the county supervisor or someone that they could talk to about their concerns.
Well, Father Troy from St. Matthias is on like the executive board, so he would be a good one
Sure.
to refer them to.
And that might be something we'll need to know, and we might talk about when we're out doing it's going to be a big group of us that'll take off and probably ride our bikes one day. I think June 16th or 18th we have lined up to actually hop on our bikes and take little sections of all the residential areas and go back and try to have our one-on-one conversations with them. But that would be something maybe we could mention.
Now, that's
If
just
we know,
in this community, right?
We're going to do it in Muscatine County. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, you mentioned signage.
Yes.
How much signage is involved with an event like this?
Quite a bit. You need RAGBRAI and the Bicycle Coalition. They put together a lot of signs where they'll go out and they will put signs up on hazards. They'll put arrows up. They'll put the signs for ride right, reminding people to stay right. So they'll do a lot of the signage and
Is
helping.
that what that means? Right. So stay right?
Yep, stay right.
I learned
Stay right.
something today, folks. I'll be darned.
Yeah, that's what that means. So that'll be promoted quite a bit, as well as local signage that we'll put up will be anything that's pertinent to our community. Getting people directed to the dip site. How do you get there? Maybe camping, parking, where do RVs go? All of those things along the way will be signed out for people to know where to go.
You know, I got to think that all up and down the Mississippi River, wherever RAGBRAI has finished, the riders have to cross railroad tracks just before getting to the water.
Correct.
So, what kind of signage would be placed by those railroad tracks owned by, I think it's Canadian Pacific Railroad?
It would be really up to your county to make sure that is all the hazards are marked for your riders.
Okay.
And that's in varying ways. It can be cones, it can be, they sometimes put carpet over the railroad tracks if there's a big gap.
Really?
But I'm understanding they're not so crazy about the carpet anymore, so I'm not 100% certain what RAGBRAI or Bicycle Coalition will maybe decide to put up for those
I
types
mean,
of
you
hazards.
can't stop a train from its forward progress, whether
Yes,
it's coming
correct.
from
And I believe that is why during but sometimes they have done that. I imagine probably not in the ones.
Well, I know a little bit
active
about
trains
Canadian Pacific
working.
Railroad, and they're a little possessive
Yeah.
with regards to their rails.
Correct.
So,
But we do have to get them marked in some way for people to be aware that there are railroad tracks with maybe some gaps in them to be careful of, because they can get your tires and then you wind up off your bike. So
The good thing about Muscatine is the railroad tracks will be perpendicular, which is the best way to cross a railroad track. And ours have been redone recently, and they're really in good shape. So
That's true.
hopefully we will have minimal issues
I'm
with railroad
sure
tracks.
Canadian Pacific is writing a check out to you right now for saying.
I hope so.
No, yeah, they are. They're not bad in our county, really, from what's on. They're not too bad. There's a few issues maybe other places, but yeah, you had just to mark them in some way. And if you do have some hazards, you just want to make sure that the riders are aware of them in enough time so that they can be grates. There's certain grates along the route. The three of us recently rode the entire route to and from. We were started in Muscatine at the riverfront, and we rode down to Muscatine County, and then back, and marking and taking a lot of pictures.
Did you uncover some significant challenges?
We
Or?
uncovered some opportunities. I would call them opportunities that we're going to be talking to the county engineer tomorrow. We're
Really?
going to be taking a report to him and chatting with him about that and getting him some heads up as to some of the opportunities we've seen along the way that they might be willing to take a look at. RAGBRAI, when they do their pre-ride, which will be on June 11th, from Washington to Muscatine, they'll also be doing a little inspection of the roads as well. But getting to them ahead of time, letting our county engineer know what we've noticed and what we've seen, give them an opportunity to go out and really take a look at things and really fix them and make them so they're not safe, so they're not unsafe.
Sure. So what else does the Ride Right Committee do?
Bike safety, and we have, it's something that we do all year round anyhow, but part of it is doing helmet giveaways, talking to the folks in town about safe cycling. If you decide you want to kind of join in this big, massive group of people, making sure they know, of course, that the ride right piece of it, stay right, wear your helmet, be safe, and have opportunities to chat with the folks in town about that.
Now, really, of the 10 or 15,000 people that participate in RAGBRAI, is there really anyone that does that without a helmet?
Anymore you don't see.
I don't remember
them.
seeing
I haven't
them.
seen one in years.
You really don't.
Really?
Sometimes if you see them though, they are the ones that jump on the route that are coming maybe riding that last 20 miles into town,
Oh,
residents of a town. And
Do you have a specific
That is
name
the
for
only time.
that kind of activity?
Bandits. Bandits.
yeah,
That's polite.
very true, yes.
So Chuck, how many times have you ridden RAGBRAI?
About 10 various part week, full week, but last 10 years.
But you're not a bandit.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. What has been that you can recall your most memorable experience?
It's the towns coming into them and how the town reacts to it. Because if you come into a community where the people are having fun, it's fun. I remember the one that sticks is we're coming into Eagle Grove, and which is a nice community, right on the edge of town, there's a tall oak tree, and somebody 20 feet up in it in an eagle costume, waving at people coming in. And one town one of us had a volcano in the middle of their main street with a couple people, obviously of Polynesian descent, in costume, and it's just, you never know what to expect.
They're very creative, the towns are. It's so fun to go in and see the themes they put together and watch their community just all come together. It's just fantastic. It really is.
Well, those of us that have never ridden RAGBRAI, I sometimes conjure up this picture of people flooding into a small community where there's beverages available, and maybe this is a Tuesday or a Wednesday, midway through the entire ride, and maybe consuming far too much beverage, alcohol beverage. To me, that takes all the flair and the fun out of the entire ride. Agree? Disagree?
There's probably a small element of that in, with that larger group, you're going to have a little bit of everything, but you can't ride 80 miles on a hot day
And not have a
and
beer
but
afterwards?
drinking a lot of beer along the way, because somewhere you're going to tip over.
So what
That fair?
happens?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bob?
yeah. There are a few people, but I've never seen a place where Ragbray has gotten destructive
No.
or really out of hand where the police had to step in.
Never.
Trash is picked up.
yeah.
You don't leave,
Yeah.
they don't leave trash behind.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're getting to be an older
Campgrounds
group.
are really cleaned up when they leave. It's
Yeah.
amazing, really.
What's the average age now? 40, 50?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Of Ragbri riders, the
Yes.
average age is 40 to 50?
I would say so.
Yes.
It's gone up, yes. I know that.
So to me, that denotes an element of loss of interest by a younger generation.
To me, it denotes an interest of people staying fit as they get older. Because the first time I did Ragbray, there were 2,000 of us, and there were a fair number of kids. But today, there's 10 to 15,000, and it's a lot of adults, in my opinion, staying fit.
Outstanding.
70 years old, it's nothing to see.
They stay with it, they bring their families in.
So, and let's talk about camping when you hit that small community on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday afternoon or whatever. And each community, I would think, would be basically the same. And let's say, I mean, has someone prior to the ride set aside campgrounds or camping spaces, or how does that work?
That is exactly how it works. We have a fantastic person, Deb Elliott, who is our Ragbri coordinator in Muscatine. She's a member of the Mellon City Bike Club. And she does a ton of work ahead of time. There's a little schedule you have to kind of follow, but she beforehand has all the campsites picked out for us. And she works with the communities, and they allot where you're going to be, so you know ahead of time.
So the
when you're
communities
going into
assign
town. Yes,
each representative a place to go.
pretty much, yes.
Wow.
They'll have a central campground designated, and then people on their own will line up, family, friends, people they know, people they went to college with, and stay in their yards. And this year, one of the towns in the middle of the week is Leon, Iowa, which is less than 2,000 people.
I was going to say, in a lot of cases, there's more riders than there are residents of the community.
They don't have a stoplight in their town either.
There's school grounds, fairgrounds, open areas.
Yeah.
It's a real, for them, it'd be a real challenge to find enough level green space
Sure,
to put
sure.
that many people.
And they probably have a band in the beverage tent or whatever.
They'll probably follow the full Ragbri type protocol. Now Deb also, because we have a bike club that goes, so we kind of, sometimes the spots we get, but Deb does a great job always, because we've had over 100 people that ride with Mellon City. So when
really?
you get back into town, they start marking along the route, little signs, it'll say Mellon City Bike Club, maybe a couple miles out, right guys, something like
Yeah,
that.
right.
And then you start seeing Mellon City Bike Club signs posted on telephone poles, wherever, and then arrows pointing. So before you get into town, you don't necessarily know exactly where you're going to be as a rider. But as soon as you get to town, you're directed to where your
really?
U-Haul and where your campsite is set up. All of our camp gear is hauled by a group of people that work specifically for Mellon City and drive and help support the riders.
You get the tent up, and then you have to find a shower. Whatever that might be. It can be a school, it can be a swimming pool, car washes,
Really?
Yeah.
anywhere you can come. There's trailers now that travel with portable
Yes.
showers. So that's a big challenge, is where you're going to shower.
I would think.
Then find a church basement to eat pasta in, and then go to bed early.
And you hope a town like Leon has enough water to handle this big group. So, but I'm sure they won't.
So Diana, outside of the city of Muscatine, actually the county of Muscatine, does the Ride Right Committee have any responsibilities en route coming to, say, Muscatine County?
The Ride Right Committee from Washington, their Ride Right Committee will have the responsibility up to our county line.
Okay.
So they'll be taking care of the things I'm talking about for the road conditions,
So each
going out and
county
doing the
that,
inspection.
that you encounter along the route
Yes.
has their own set of responsibilities. Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So, and again, coming into Muscatine County, out of Washington, G28 onto Hershey Avenue, the signage, and you've already contacted the residents along that route and so forth, all the way down to the dip site.
Correct.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
That's this is quite organized, I must say.
It's fun. We got a good group of people working on our committee, so some that's parceled out and certain people are working on different aspects of it. But yeah, it's really been fun.
So back to the Friday night before the RAGBRAI week. Bob, you had mentioned, Chuck, that there are actually 2 RAGBRAIs
For Muscatine.
for Muscatine, correct? So let's say, and how many people do you think would then come to Muscatine?
We think there'll be 800 to maybe 1,000 the Friday night and Saturday morning. A lot of people will come Friday night and park at the high school and camp, but there will be several people come Saturday morning. There are, do you remember what we have, Chuck? 16, 18 buses leaving from Muscatine.
More than that.
Okay, yeah, it keeps
Really?
climbing.
These
People who
are-
will come to Muscatine and get on these buses and drive across the state.
And these are the large travel buses.
Coaches, yes, yeah,
Wow.
yes.
So you got all these people coming to Muscatine on the Friday and Saturday before, and let's say a lot of them arrive Friday. What are they going to do?
Well, they'll come downtown, we hope, and look around and have dinner. Some of them will eat out at the high school. The boosters have provided meals, but there will be a shuttle. So if they come here and a family member drops them off to camp on Friday night, they have no transportation. There will be a shuttle that will run to the mall and downtown. And for those people who come in with cars, if they want to drive to someplace to eat or shop or something, they can do that too.
So they're on their own.
They're-
but
they're
you're
on
hoping
their
that
own.
they enjoy the amenities that
Right,
Muscatine
yes, yeah.
has to offer.
We encourage them to green up the community.
Well, you guys have been just an absolute wealth of information. That's quite a responsibility that all 3 of you have.
We're not alone in
It's
this.
fun. No, we're not. It's been just a great group. Like I said, the community's really come together, and I think they're going to really embrace having this group in. I really do. I think they're going to be very excited, and it'll be a great time for them.
Chuck?
I think a point is that it's not RAGBRAI's responsibility to make it a good opportunity and make the road safe and all the elements. That's up to that's the responsibility of the community, because the impression we leave is important on those people.
Sure.
They'll remember Muscatine for a long time, and probably longer if it's a bad experience than a good one.
Probably. Well, coming into town and pedaling right past the new hotel that is just underway has got to be a great experience. And backing up a mile or so, coming by the soccer complex, for which there is a large college recruiting event on that particular weekend. So Muscatine is going to shine, I think, to these cyclists as they come into town.
Yes.
Our Great River Days is going on as well, so we really have 3 kind of major things happening on
good point.
Saturday. So
Good point.
It will be nice. It'll be all the community should be out and about, I would think. Enjoy.
I would think so too,
Yes.
even if there is some nasty weather or good weather, doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a good point. It sounds like an awful lot of people, but don't be afraid to come down and see. You may have to walk a ways, but shouldn't be a big deal. It's a great event.
Well, the dial on the clock, folks, tells me that we're kind of winding down here just a little bit, and I'd like to offer any additional comments before we close.
I have one. I was just speaking with the housing chair, and she mentioned that if we could let the folks of Muscatine know that they are still looking for some housing on the 30th, the day on Saturday when RAGBRAI comes in, that they have received quite a few more, requests to stay in homes on Saturday night yet. So people out there, if you are willing, please go on the RAGBRAI website, and there's a place to sign up to be a host for a group of people. And trust me, RAGBRAIers are fantastic to have around. They're from all walks of life. They're from all over the country.
All over
Great
the
conversation.
world, actually.
All over the world.
world.
Yes. So please, if you have an opportunity, open up your homes to a few of these riders, because they are wanting to stay again Saturday night, which is great. They'll be around our community and enjoying the fun things we have to offer. So
Great. Bob?
I would add to that you asked about camping when you come in, and I had to smile because I don't camp. I stay in houses for the most part. So it is a great thing, and it is as a Ragbray writer, it's really fun to meet people, and I've had some fantastic experiences, and hosts are always great. The other thing is those people are always asking about Ragbray. They have 100 questions for you. So if you host them, you can ask people and find out more about Ragbray and where they're from. It's a really great experience.
It is.
To house somebody. We've housed writers before, cross-country writers and all kinds of things, just because for the most part they're really good folks.
They are.
Matter of fact, we have 8 bike racers coming in this weekend to stay with us.
Oh, really? Wow, fantastic.
But my closing comment would be, there will be cyclists all over Muscatine that day, not just on the routes. Be very careful when you get out of your car. A real danger for a cyclist is when somebody parks their car and opens the door.
A simple little act like
Because
that.
if you ride to the right, yes, so just be careful that day when you get out of your car.
A la ride right.
Yes.
Right, yes.
Not too far right.
Yeah, not too far, right? And be patient, just,
Yeah.
there's gonna be crowds everywhere, and, just please be patient. And enjoy yourself, have fun, but it might have to walk a little ways to get down to the riverfront, to enjoy some of the activities. And anytime you live close enough that you can walk, even several blocks away, just put your blue zones on and head on down and get the exercise and come on down.
But maybe leave your car at home so that it's less traffic down there.
Fantastic. Chuck,
I have nothing to add.
in closing.
That's just famous.
That's his famous, that's his
If you're on his
signature.
Facebook friends, you'll see it.
Well, folks, coming up in 2 weeks, I have invited Chief Talkington of the Muscatine Police Department, who has a conflict, he thinks, at this point, and he in turn has contacted Phil Sargent, the Assistant Police Chief, to come on Main Street and talk a little bit more about Ragbray. We'll be talking about Ragbray all the way up until Ragbray. So, until then, coming to you from Main Street, my name is Dwayne Hopkins, and we'll see you on Main Street.